6 months ago, I started to take this gym thing seriously and tweak some things in my gym routine, and it finally allowed me to break out of my 2 to 2.5 year long plateau that prevented me from passing certain weights for years on end and make only a small amount of progress in my physique. I would say in the past 6 months, I've improved my physique a decent amount compared to the past 2.5 years before that. Maybe I've made the most progress ever since my newbie gains just in the past 6 months. And today I want to share with you guys the tips that have helped me, that I've learned and implemented from my experimentation period. And hopefully it'll help you guys out if you're plateaued or just don't like going to the gym or just aren't seeing any progress. By all means, I am no fitness expert. I'm not a professional. I'm literally just sharing with you guys the things that I've applied, that I've found work for me through my trial and error. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is checking the box. When I say checking the box, I'm talking about, for me specifically, you guys probably experience this too. A lot of the times we think we're going to the gym, we're pushing pretty heavy weight, right? You're doing your chest presses, your bench presses, your lat pull downs, you're pulling pretty heavy weight, but you despise the entire time, the workout, the entire time you're there. And you're just going to the gym to check the box off to say that you did your workout for the day. While halfway through the workout, you're already looking forward to like maybe your meal or the next thing you have to do for the day, or you're just dreading the fact that you still have to be here when you want to be home. And that limits how much you can actually make progress, because if you don't want to do something, you're not going to be able to progress in it as much as if you wanted to do it. So I hated me going to the gym and the exact routine that I had. So this was the initial spike for me wanting to go deeper and research, like, okay, how can I actually make some progress? I'm tired of coming to the gym, seeing no progress, and seeing everyone else move past like their own maxes and their own PRs and their own weight ranges, but I'm stuck the same, even though they try to give me advice and it doesn't work for me. And I found out about this guy, Higher Up Wellness, on TikTok, and he advised doing a split that focused on intensity instead of volume, prioritizing less instead of more. And over time, what I found, that's what got me the results. Doing less resulted more in my physique than doing more really did. And when I say less is more, I'm talking about volume, the number of sets you do and number of exercises you do in the gym. Previously, I was doing 5 to 6 times a week in the gym when that time, in that period that I was plateaued, and I was going to the gym. I was in the gym for about 2 hours, sometimes maybe longer, 2.5 hours. And like I said, I hated going to the gym because I was in there for so long. Who wants to be in the gym for 2.5 hours and go 5 times a week? That's practically like living there, bro. So I made the switch. I'm like, maybe I am training too much. Let's dial it back and see if there's any progress. I don't even like going to the gym anymore, so dialing it back will make things better because I don't even like going anymore. So I dialed things back and I started going 3 days a week instead, and I only stayed there for about an hour to an hour and a half. I did my switch from push-pull, rest, push-pull, and then legs in the weekend to full body every other day, where I went Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I trained chest, back, and either triceps, biceps, or shoulders, and then finished off with legs. And I was alternating biceps, triceps, and shoulders Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I had a guaranteed back and chest move and legs move every single day. Now, legs, maybe not so much. We might have skipped some days, but actually, I'll say most days. But once I switched to this full body routine, I was going in 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I started to prioritize intensity more. I wanted to focus on, instead of giving myself room to do 4 sets per exercise, let me dial it down to 2 sets per exercise. So I have to train hard. And what I saw was I was able to prioritize intensity without feeling fatigued anymore. When I was doing 4 sets a exercise, first set would be like warm-up set. This is not even part of the 4 sets. First set would be warm-up set. Second set would be the first working set. And this would be proximity of, not even proximity of failure, probably around like 60-70% effort. And then second working set, maybe around 80%, maybe 90% effort. I was like building up the weights. And then third working set, I'd already feel pretty fatigued, and this would probably be around like 85% effort. And then fourth set, honestly, I don't even want to do the set anymore. And probably I was doing around like 70-75% intensity on this set. So I never really pushed that 100% limit, that 100% failure, because I was always like, I have so many more sets, I'll do it on the next one. And when the next one came, I was fatigued. I can't do it anymore. And the last set came, I don't even want to do this anymore. Let's go to the next machine. And that repeated cycle is, I found, the reason why I couldn't grow. And when I dialed it back to 2 sets, and sometimes even if you notice 2 sets is hard for you, you can even do 1 working set and like 2 warm-up sets if you really don't have the time and you feel like you fatigue early. But I would say try to do 2 sets, max 3 sets if you feel like you can go that much without feeling fatigued or drained or just despising the workout. So I allowed myself to only do 2 sets, and as I'm prioritizing intensity, I want to keep a rep number in mind that represents my failure point. Because another problem I had, by this relates to the checking the box situation, was that I used to go to the gym and just every time, like, I wouldn't know exactly what my failure point is, and I would kind of pause when things got tired, when I started to feel like I had nothing left in the tank, but I really had a little bit more, and I'd make up excuses like, oh no, I couldn't go this far because this was like near my max, or this I was tired because I didn't get good sleep last night, or I didn't eat well yesterday, or I ate right before I slept, or I didn't eat good this morning before the gym, I didn't get like my carbs in. I woke up, I had a bad morning. Like, I'd always find a way to give excuses on something external instead of blaming myself for my results. Sometimes I blame myself, but then I'd put it off and not make any differences. So instead of just checking the box, I decided to track my lifts. I decided to write down, okay, what number am I aiming for this weight, like to surpass on this set? What is my failure point? Write the rep down, or write the number of reps down for a specific weight in your notes app or whatever app you want to track on, and this should be the rep that you want to have in mind, or you can add 1 or 2 to this rep and have that number in mind as a target amount of reps you want to hit to push your body past failure, to keep your body in track with your goals. When you don't track things, at least in my experience, it's hard to make progress because you're blindly coming in and you're guessing where your failure point is, because we all come into the gym with like a different feeling. We all one day feel more tired than other days, or feel more energetic than other days. And if we don't go in with the perception of hitting failure and knowing what our failure is, then we're not going to progress as fast as we want or as much as we want. For me personally, I found tracking the number of reps for X amount of weight as my failure, and trying to push 1 to 2 reps past that every week, usually for that exercise, allowed me to progressively overload and actually put on size. Because from my experience and from what I've learned and from what I've seen and what has worked for me, the true way to build muscle and put on size is to progressively overload, which is pushing past your failure, increasing that failure amount little by little every single time you go to the gym, or at least every single time or over time you do a certain exercise. Let's say you're doing bench press and your max is 2 plates, 225. You do 225 for 4 reps, let's say 6 reps, and it's hard you can't do 7. 6 is literally your max, and on your 7th one, you can't push it up anymore. I want you to write that down, 225 for 6, and then I want you to come next week, when you do bench press, I want you to do either 225 for 7 or for 8, or try to aim for 235 for 6 reps or for 5 reps. Okay, try to either progressively overload the weight by 5-10 pounds per week, or by 1 to 2 reps per week. And this depends. Obviously, you can't increase, like, for example, lateral raises 5 to 10 pounds a week. It's going to be really difficult to maintain good form. So it depends on the exercise. Some machines or some workouts, some exercises, you need to progress slower, like maybe 1 rep a week, and focus on form. And sometimes you'll have sloppy form as you're progressing. That's fine. But over time, if you try to increase your max, even if you're doing like partial reps at the end, you're over like 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 weeks, you'll notice those reps that you're doing partials in the past become like normal reps, and you have like new partial reps that you're doing. So if you're doing like 225, let's say you're doing lat pull downs, and you do 160 for 12 for 160 for 8, and then the last 4 reps you do partials, and then you do the progressive overload we're talking about, and like 6 to 10 weeks down the line you're on like 160 and you're doing, let's say, 16 reps. The first 12 are now going to be clean reps, and the last 4 are probably going to be partials. Last 4, 3, 2 even are probably going to be partial reps. And don't be afraid of doing partials. Don't just stop when you can't do the full range, because you have a little bit left in you. Your muscle, apparently from what I've heard and what I've experienced, is your muscle grows still when it's doing partial reps and it's in like the lengthened position and you're doing like lat pull downs. You're barely putting it halfway. You're still gaining strength on the muscle. You're still pushing it past its failure point, which is going to build new muscle fibers and strengthen yourself to allow you to push more weight over time, and as a result look bigger and be stronger. So I would say those tips are by far one of the most important ones. Not going to the gym just to check the box, and actually prioritizing intensity over volume. Not because when you're doing volume, you can really start hating the gym, feeling like it's like your second home, and the second home that you don't want to go to. And making sure that you're limiting the number of sets you do to max 3 sets per exercise. Not being in the gym for 3 hours. Maybe if you're talking to people, sure, that's a different story, but actually training and like having a session where you're not talking to people, max hour and a half. Sometimes I'm actually in the gym for like 45 minutes, and I do like 20-30 minutes of cardio at the end on the treadmill. So 45 minutes plus another 20-30 minutes. I'm in the gym for an hour to an hour and a half a day, meaning your workouts without cardio should be like 40 minutes to a little over an hour max. Along with that, have progressive overloading in the back of your head at all times. Along with that, have your weight and reps for every exercise for your routine written down in your notes. And don't be doing random exercises every single week. Stick to a structured plan. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what split. There's no optimal split or the other. Unless you're doing some bullshit and like not hitting certain muscle groups for weeks, don't do that. But if you're hitting at least each muscle once a week, you're fine. Ideally, you want to hit it twice a week. That's why I do full body every other day, which is 3 times a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I hit chest, back, biceps, and then chest, back, shoulders, and then chest, back, triceps. And then at the end of each day, I do leg days sometimes. And that allows me to train each muscle group multiple times a week and make sure I'm getting good sets in for those two, because I'm also prioritizing intensity. Okay. You can do upper lower split. You can do push pull legs, whatever works for you, but make sure you're not in the gym for a long time. You're prioritizing intensity over volume. You're progressively overloading and tracking your weights and your reps, and aiming for 1 to 2 reps in your mind based on the number you have written down for that exercise, for that set, and approach that. Try to hit that number 1 to 2 reps more, or 5 to 10 pounds more, depending on whichever one's better for that, suited for that exercise. And over time, you will see yourself grow. If you stick to that plan, stick to your routine, your split, and progressively overload, prioritize intensity over volume. Don't go just to check the box, and understand that less is more. You will make more progress by going to the gym less. Now I actually enjoy going to the gym. I know it's kind of crazy to say, but I literally look forward to the gym. I go on Monday and I want to go on Tuesday. I want to go, but I don't, because that's my routine. And I know if I go on Tuesday, I might feel fatigued, or I might not be the best shape, and then I have to come back Wednesday and I'm not going to feel the best I am Wednesday. And then Thursday I'm going to skip it, and then Friday I'm going to come back and I'm just going to be like in a bad mood and whatnot. Maybe 1 week will be good, 1 week will be bad, but when I have this 3-day split, I'm able to be consistently good week after week and actually progress. Maybe there's been 1 or 2 weeks in the past like 5 months, in the past 5-6 months, maybe like 3 weeks, where I've slowed down in my progress and I haven't been able to progressively overload. Also, I've been cutting and losing weight for the past 6 months as well. So not only did I put on muscle and progressively overload and managed to increase and break out of like the range of weights that I was stuck in for years, I also managed to lose 25 pounds as well. So if you guys are not like cutting like I am, maybe you're a leaner physique, you're kind of on the skinnier side and putting on muscle, then it might be easier for you to progressively overload, because you're not worrying about losing weight. You're trying to focus on gaining weight. And if you're maybe someone like me who was skinny fat and you're trying to lose weight and put on muscle, then this is 100% the most like optimal route you can go down. I've got down this route and it's helped me a lot, so I'm going to share with you guys. Now, if you want more tips on like weight loss and what I did to lose weight, that side of things, you can definitely drop a comment down below if you have any questions for that, and I'll let you know, or I'll make a video on it, because I think that might be the next topic I want to talk about. But overall, let's go over it again. Don't go to the gym just to check the box. Less is more. Do less sets. Prioritize intensity over volume. Progressively overload. Track your sets and the exact reps and weight you did for each set, and aim to do 1 to 2 reps more week over week or over time, or 5 to 10 pounds more on that specific set or on that specific exercise for that specific set. Do whatever split works for you. I do full body every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 times a week. And I do, you can figure out whatever full body split you want. I do back, chest, and then either biceps, triceps, or shoulders. I alternate between those two, both those three, and then legs at the end, and cardio after. Treadmill, I do 5 incline, 3 speed for 30 minutes. And then I get 10K steps a day. Amazing. All right. Make sure you get your protein in too. Very essential as well for maintaining muscle gain on your cut or just in general. Protein's OP. And you guys will do good. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as possible. And hopefully you guys make some progress out of these pointers. Let me know if it helps.